extent, but I also think that it's got to be incredibly frustrating for a guy like you that has the kind of information that you have bouncing around your head in relationship to the way the rest of the world views it. See, to a person like myself, who I don't know nearly as much as you know, but I know quite a bit more than the average person when it comes to psilocybin and mushrooms or Amanita muscaria or Terrence McKenna's ideas, Shroom Fest doesn't bother me. But for a serious researcher like yourself, it's got to be like, you're a part of the problem. Right?
Well,
you're making it silly.
It's the Timothy Leary problem.
Right, right.
It held back their bona fide research into this subject for years. There's a movement right now.
Explain that, please.
It is. There's a movement right now to move psilocybin from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2. Schedule 1 means an illegal drug that has no medical benefits. Schedule 2 means it's a drug that has medical benefits. Right. So there's a serious movement going on right now within the FDA to have it be recategorized because, in the words of FDA researchers I know, one arm's length removed, is that they've never seen anything with such a strong safety profile that gives so much benefit at so little cost for such a long time. This is a drug in a category of its own. This is really important. So let's not jeopardize it.
It is really important, but you're never going to stop kids from calling it shrooms.
Well, you know, and I want to give a pass here. I want to give a pass. And the coming of age, you know, when I was 16 to, you know, the age, 22, 24, it's the coming of age ceremony. Now, I'm going to tell you something that's very deeply personal, and it's very significant in my life. I had a congenital stuttering habit. I could not speak. I could not look at Joe Rogan in the eye right now without you know, I had like the King's Speech. You've seen the movie? Exactly like that, but worse in my case. I went through 6 years of speech therapy. I was interviewed for special education. I grew up in a small town called Columbiana, Ohio. And I could not speak. Now, the type of stuttering habit that I have and had, I don't stutter to animals. I had pet snapping turtles, and I would talk to them all the time. And I don't stutter when I sing. But I could not elocute without stuttering constantly. And please, people out there, don't finish a stutterer's sentence. The type of stutterer category that I have been in is that we would try to trick our brain with a prepositional or adverbial phrase halfway through the sentence that we're stuck on because we're thinking 3 or 4 sentences ahead, and the only way you can do is trick the brain. So I had to come up with a new neurological pathway to trick my brain so I could get out of my stuttering rhythm that was just repetition I couldn't get out of. And then one day, before I'd ever had psilocybin mushrooms, I bought a bag of them, and I thought I had no information. I just bought the bag for about $25, and I went out for a walk in the woods in Ohio, and there was this beautiful oak tree that I used to climb the very top of the tallest hill. You know, in Ohio we don't have mountains, we have hills, and it was in the summertime, and so I thought set and setting is important. I knew that, so I went for a walk, and I ate the bag, the whole bag, when I was walking.
How many ounces you think?
Well, I know it was about a half an ounce to an ounce. So I mean, yeah. So we're talking. This is the elevator ride beyond the 10th floor. You know, so
8 to 16 grams. Is that what you're talking about?
It was probably on the order of about 20 grams. You know, so no. But I didn't know. No, I had no one to. So, but I knew. But I went to this. My destination was this tree.
Right.
So I walked and I came at the tree, and I was eating the mushrooms, and then I started feeling the effects. And so it was great because I was climbing the tree, and I was getting higher in the tree and hire in my brain.
Whoa, that seems like a terrible thing to do.
And I climbed to the top of the tree, and this beautiful landscape, but there was these, in the summertime, these boiling black clouds on the horizon. I go, oh, that's cool. You know, and so this big summer storm was coming, and the clouds were dark and boiling, and they're coming close, and I could hear the thunder, and then I'm getting higher and higher, and the winds pick up, and the tree started moving, and I started to get vertigo because I was like, oh my God, I'm getting so freaking high on these mushrooms. And so I grabbed the tree and held on the tree, and it became my axis mundi into the earth. And then the lightning started coming closer, and then lightning started coming really close, and the lightning would hit, and I go, I saw fractals for the first time. The atmosphere became liquid. I saw these liquid waves of these multidimensional geometrical patterns everywhere, and the sparks of lightning would just create this amazing crescendo of secondary, tertiary, fractals all around me. And I was like, oh my, it was amazing. I said, this is what I read about, and so the storm came and lightning strikes were all around me, and I was washed with rain, and I was up there, and I felt in touch with Gaia, the universe. My heart opened up. I felt one with all. I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a powerful spiritual experience. I had no idea. No matter what anyone has read, as you probably know, it cannot describe the experience. And then it dawned on me, wait a second, Stamets, you're on the tallest tree on the tallest hill for miles in the middle of a lightning storm. This is not the best place to be. And so I realized I could be killed up here. Suddenly I had a reality rush, like,
you could turn into a god. Imagine, like a comic book, high on 20 grams of mushrooms, hugging a tree, the lightning comes and hits you, and whoa, maybe you were the savior. Maybe you need to get back to that tree. Maybe you're the chosen one.
It was an incredibly spiritual and wonderful experience, but I also had the fear, and this comes with the hero's journey. You always have the dark side. You always have not just the light side, but this counterbalance with the dark side. And I realized, oh my gosh, I could die up here. And I said, well, I don't die, Stamets. What are your issues? This get something out of this experience. And I said, this stuttering habit's ridiculous. And I'm not stupid. And so I said to myself, stop stuttering now. Stop stuttering now. I said that dozens, hundreds of times, over and over and over. And fortunately, the storms went past and held on to the tree. And soaking wet, I came out of the tree and walked back to where I was living. And then the next day, I got up. I didn't see anybody, and I was walking along on this path and a sidewalk, and there's a lady that I really liked a lot, and but she was always attracted to the super self-assured jocks and things like that. She was actually very kind and sweet, but I didn't want to stare at her in the eyes because I would stutter, and it's humiliating for us. So the more humiliating us stutterers feel, the more we stutter. And so it's a really slippery slope, and so I would avoid eye contact. And so for the first time, she walked towards me. She said, "Good morning, Paul. How are you?" She was always so nice to me, and I was terrified because I'd embarrass myself. And I looked at her straight in the eyes, and I said, "I'm doing fine. How are you?" And I stopped stuttering in one day.
Whoa.
And this speaks to now what was been medically proven is that we can reset the neurology of the human brain through neurogenesis. I believe that experience allowed me to map new neurological pathways that allows me to elocute in a way that I could not elocute before.